So there is one feature in Raid Shadow Legends that I couldn't wrap my head around, but once I understood it, it made all of my champions just that little bit stronger. So if you're a new player like yourself, you might find this video quite useful. What am I talking about? It's none other than glyphs. Now glyphs can be applied to artifacts and gear that you have on your champions, and I'm going to run through one example right now. So on my Xenomorph, I have a Divine Critical Rate weapon equipped on him. If I click on that and then click upgrade, I can see this button enchant on the right hand side. When I click on it, I see all the glyphs that I've accumulated over time. Now, the only ones I can apply to this weapon are ones that correspond with the substats that are already on this weapon. So that is HP percentage, HP flat, and then resistance. The reason I hesitated on this is because I thought, well, what if I really like that weapon and I want to make it much stronger? I don't want to use a 1-star because what if I want to use a 3-star or 4-star or 5-star? I thought that you could only use one on a weapon and that was that. It turns out that is absolutely incorrect. If I highlight these, it gets a little bit stronger with each star. So the 5-star HP percentage glyph increases the percentage HP on this weapon from 10% up to 15%. But if I downscale down to 1-star, it only goes up by 1%. And if I click enhance, I can see it goes from 10% to 11%. Now I can go to a 3-star glyph and roll the dice to see if I can get something higher than a 1%. There is a chance that I'll re-roll and just get a 1% again and nothing changes, but a 2% and a 3% is possible. So let's enchant for 10,000 silver and I get 2%. I can re-roll again to get a 3%. But don't worry, you cannot go below what you've already secured. So if I re-roll and I end up getting a 1%, it won't get applied. I'll still keep the 2%. You can only keep going up. You can never go down percentage or value on a substat. So don't worry, you're not risking that big on glyphs. So again, with HP, I can see here that I can go either from 75 to 100. So if I enchant, I get 75, so I can re-roll again, and I click again, and then I get 100. And then after that, it grays out because you can't get anything higher than 100 with just a 1-star. And then a 2-star can get it actually from 125 to 175, and then a 3-star from 125 to 275, so on and so forth. So with resistance, I'm going to use it again, and am I going to get a 2? No, just a 1, so I'm going to re-roll one more time. And then I get a 2. So essentially, I've upgraded this Divine Critical Rate weapon on my Xenomorph from 10% HP substat to a 12% and HP flat 419 up to 519, and then the resistance substat from 10 to 12. So very small amount, but it actually makes quite a difference when you apply it to all other 9 artifacts that you have equipped onto your champions. So with my Kale one, I've actually gone ahead and done that, and you can see that I've had a 2 on accuracy and 100 on my HP, and then an extra percentage on the attack, and then another on HP, and then 1 on speed, which is pretty crucial. You really do want to get as much speed as you can, as well as some on attack, and so on and so forth. So they can actually stack up and make a significant difference. How you get a hold of glyphs is a whole nother question. What you should be doing is going into battle and then clicking faction wars, and then just trying to clear whatever faction stages are available for the day. Now, you can only do it if you have these particular keys. I don't think you can actually get any new ones here, but the purple keys essentially allows you to try 12 times per day on whichever faction. Now, do not worry, they are not a finite resource. They replenish every single day on a completely new faction. So if you have time, absolutely every day you should be jumping in here and just spamming stage 1 over and over again if you can't do anything more than stage 2 or stage 3. Don't worry about trying to get further and further down here. Just use them. As you can see here with the high elf crypt, I can't get anything past stage 2. I keep failing on stage 3 because I don't really have very strong champions in that faction to pass this particular stage. So I just go on stage 2, and then I go on super raids, and then I multi-battle for like 6 turns, and then collect whatever I get from that. Of course, if you get a bit higher down the line, you can actually get better and better glyphs. I think with my Bannerlord crypt and my Dark Elves crypt, I have Mikey and I have Kale that allowed me to get much further down in terms of stages, and because of that, I get stronger glyphs. So, you know, once you pass the bosses and stuff, you can get 3 to 5 star glyphs. There are a few other particular important glyphs that you might want to keep an eye on. I don't know how to get them exactly, but if I go ahead and look at what available glyphs I do have, I don't know what faction it is that I have it on, but you can actually get some rare glyphs. So if I click on here and then go on the glyphs, they're all green. But sometimes you can get blue one, which is even higher. I'm assuming it can go up to epic and legendary, which means you get massive boosts in stats for a particular substat. So keep an eye out on those. And of course, I should mention, these are all faction limited. So that's why you really want to be doing it on every single available faction on Faction Wars, because these glyphs are tied to the faction that you earn them from. And then applied only from that to that faction as well. So in case you don't understand what I'm talking about, with Xenomorph, he's Dark Elves, I have to get the glyphs from the Dark Elves Faction Wars to be able to apply it onto him. So that's why it's really important to amass as many as possible by completing the Faction Wars. Plus, as a little bit of a bonus, you do get a fair few little items to help with the forge, like bloodstone, for example. The further you go down the stages, the more rarer the ones you can get. For instance, I'm missing some legendary bloodstone, but you have to get much further down in terms of stages. But, you know, it can help you build 5 to 6 star rarity perceptions, which is actually really important for particular champions when it comes to building out their artifacts. I use perception on like Anorak. I used it on Kale for one point. I use it on Mikey. I use it on the Xenomorph. Now, accuracy and that speed is really important, especially for the debuffs they apply to enemies. So, you know, that's why Faction Wars should not be ignored. You get some really good items, and you make existing artifacts much stronger. So I hope that makes it a little bit easier to understand exactly what glyphs are. I thought, again, you could only use one, and it's really important to make sure that you use the right enchant on a particular artifact. But no, you can just go ahead and just apply them on to every weapon that you think you want to use on a particular champion. So like I'm doing right now, I've just made this helmet that has critical rate on my Xenomorph just that little bit stronger. And then you know that you've used glyphs because you can see, I don't know why I'm pointing at the monitor, you can't see it, but you can see a little green arrow just next to it above the set icon in the item box there. So I'm going to go ahead and go to a different champion just for like one last thing as a comparison. Let's take a look at the stats that we have on Mikey right now. And then what I'll do is I'll quickly apply the glyphs, and then we can cross-compare just how much of a benefit we get from just 1-star glyphs. So you don't really have to pass anywhere beyond stage 1 on Faction Wars. So let's see just how much we can eke out with 1-star glyphs. Okay, so that is every single substat I could upgrade with glyphs. As you can see here, I've got some on HP, some on attack, but every single one gets at least a little bit of a boost, especially the gauntlets, which is very nice. And you can also use them on the ring, on the amulet, and the banner, so don't forget those ones as well. So here is a difference in the stats. With the power of editing, you'll see 2 different versions, one before glyphs, one after. Hopefully gives you a bit of an idea exactly why you should be using these immediately. Even if you've just got them in your inventory, don't worry about using them right away. Get straight to it. It'll just maybe make your champions that little bit stronger. But hopefully this little short direct guide helps you out, especially as a new player. If you are a new player and haven't used a creator code to start your new Raid Shadow Legends account, I highly recommend that you just start again, because if you use our creator link in the pinned comment down below, you get a free legendary right off the bat. That champion is Elenaril. She's a poison damage dealer that syncs perfectly with the best starter champion when you start the game, which is Kale. He is also a poison damage dealer. And then once you made your account, you can type in the promo code Desert Queen. That gives you your second legendary account, Ter Anorak. She's a void support that's great at keeping your teammates alive, as well as spreading all their debuffs on all of the enemy champions. And then finally, once you log in for 7 days until April 20th, I believe, you'll be able to get your third legendary champion, Ezio. He won't be attainable after April, so be aware, if you want him now is the best time to get him. But besides that, guys, I've been Charlie, you've been watching Bovine Raid, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys.